Bet horse racing on DRF Bets. We'll match your first deposit of $200. Get free expert picks and past performances, plus weekly cash back. All from Daily Racing Form, the most trusted name in horse racing.
Dan Illman, Mike Beer with the kickoff leg of an all-stakes pick 5 at Keeneland on Saturday. It's an awesome card, and race number 6, the Grade 2 Woodford, features one of the stars of our sport. Let's take a look at this field. $350,000 is the purse. Golden Pal is the best turf sprinter in the country right now. He won last year's Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, and he gave the fans who backed him at odds-on some anxious moments last time out in the Troy at Saratoga. I think when we watch the race later, it was a little bit easier than it appears on paper.
Yeah, I kind of think it was. I mean, it's at least worth pointing out, too, that it was a pretty good field that he was facing at Saratoga. They just didn't, Golden Pal just didn't get his usual trip in that race, and he still managed to get the job done. He's going to take a ton of beating in here.
Now, on paper, there appears to be a couple of other horses with early speed, but if Golden Pal breaks, and he didn't get off to the most alert beginning in the Troy, he's likely to make the front, as we see from our Timeform US pace projector, which has Golden Pal in front of Artemis City Limits, who showed speed last time out. Catamosto was out-sprinted for the lead by a very fast horse last time out. This is a 3-year-old taking on Elders.
Yeah, he's stepping up here. We'll see what he can do as he faces some tougher competition. To me, Golden Pal is just supposed to go to the lead in here. He broke awkwardly in the Troy last time, and I think IRAD just sort of took that opportunity to let this horse rate a little bit and see what would happen. I would hope that they don't do that again.
The one county final is 30-1 on the morning line. He finished 3rd in this race last year behind Golden Pal, and he's coming into the race in okay form. He was placed 3rd via disqualification last time out at Colonial, a race in which he lost a lot of early position.
He really did. To me, he just really had no chance in that race, especially for a horse like him who, tends to be a little bit more forwardly placed in his races. He got way too far back in that race, and then he ran on at the end to just miss 3rd. I thought he ran fine in that race, which actually came back pretty fast.
The 2 is Bad Beat Brian, and I went back to Bad Beat Brian's final start of 2021. It was one of the claiming crown races at Gulfstream. I thought he looked very good in that race. He was sort of buried down inside in mid-pack. He came to the outside, and he just inhaled those weaker foes in the stretch. I was kind of surprised last time out when he went right to the front at Kentucky Downs, going 6.5 furlongs, and speed popped that field. I think quality is an issue for Bad Beat Brian, but he does have a little bit of ability, and I'm not worried about him cutting back in distance. He's versatile enough to lead or rate.
Right, and he's just supposed to probably do a little bit of sitting here with Golden Pal going off to the front, and that could work to his advantage in this race. I don't know what to say about his race last time where they showed speed with him. It took place at Kentucky Downs, so I don't have to really put a lot of thought into it. Who knows what goes on at that track? My problem, Dan, is he exits that stakes race off the claim 2 back at Ellis Park. I just don't like that race overall, and I didn't see his excuse that day. He had a good trip, dead aim, and wasn't good enough.
And the winner of that race is right next door, the number 3, All in Sync, who pulled off a 22-1 upset in that spot. Came back in a Grade 2 against fellow 3-year-olds, the Franklin Simpson at Kentucky Downs. Not too worried that it says bumped start. He's a late runner that wants a little bit of pace and just didn't pick up his feet that day, although he did have some traffic issues.
Yeah, he did. I didn't like his effort last time, but again, that took place at Kentucky Downs as well. So I don't want to be too hard on him for the turf debut 2 back. Again, that's the Ellis Park race that I'm not a huge fan of, but this horse actually ran pretty well in there, coming last to first.
Here's Golden Pal. He's 7 for 7 sprinting on the turf in North America, including this race, the Troy, a race in which he didn't break very well. Got steadied a bit early when another speed came in front of him. He tracked 3 wide. And Arad Ortiz is going to cruise up to a nice horse on the lead. That's True Valor. And I think Irad just expected Golden Pal to go right on by. True Valor shows a lot of heart, but it's not like Irad's really going to the stick here. It's a strong hand ride, and Golden Pal gets there in the nick of time.
Yeah, always looked like he was going to get it done, but I don't think even Irad expected it to be that close. But again, they just sort of took the opportunity to give him a chance to sit off of horses in there because he didn't break great. And I just don't see them doing that in here. When he's at his best, when he's on the early lead, and he's supposed to be on the early lead in here.
I'm a huge fan of the number 5 Gear Jockey, especially if you believe there's a race where he's going to catch some pace. I think the main problem for him throughout his career is that he's a tweener. He's not truly a turf sprinter, a 5.5 horse, and he's not really a horse that's at his best going a mile. He's more of a 6 to 7 furlong type. Gear Jockey ran very, very well at Kentucky Downs last year, so I was really surprised to see that he didn't run during the Kentucky Downs meet of 2022. He was last seen in the Jaipur on Belmont Stakes Day, and he was bad that day.
Yeah, the Jaipur was not his best performance, and he's gotten time off since then. We'll see if he can, sort of show up here, Dan, and rebound to one of his really good performances, because it feels like he's the one horse in here maybe who has a race available that could at least put him in the frame with Golden Pale, with a good Golden Pale anyway.
Both the 6 and the 7 are coming into this race off Beyer tops. The 6 Oceanic just won a stakes race at Colonial, and he got a very clever trip and ride from Julien Leparoux. He broke from the far outside post. Leparoux used Oceanic's speed, got him into a great spot, tracking a pace duel, and he went by at the end. It's going to be tougher against this group, but it looks like he's in career form.
I mean, I guess he is. He won that last race very easily. I don't know where it came from. I did not like his effort 2 starts back in that Ellis Park race, but he certainly ran last time.
And here's Artemis City Limits. Michael Maker was giving him some confidence over the summer. A win on the 4th of July in a second level allowance. A win at Saratoga and a third level allowance. Then they tried to pop him going 3/4 of a mile in the grade 2 at Kentucky Downs. He showed big speed in this race. They went fast, I guess, sub 44.5, and he just gets pipped at the wire by an informed Southern California shipper.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the pace was just a little too much for him in here. As far as I could tell, Artemis City Limits has no excuse in this race. He was in charge of this pace without a lot of pressure. He's on his wrong lead through this stretch. He can't hold on. Prior to that, though, his form did seem like it ticked up a little bit. When he won that July 4th race, Dan, he walked that race. That pace was so slow, and he managed to hold on, but he ran a little bit better when he won his next start.
Charcoal, the number 8, has always been an honest horse. He's had some trips in some of his races. I question whether he's good enough to handle Golden Pal and a couple of these others. We just saw him run 5th at Kentucky Downs last time out. I won't hold that race against him, but he's another one coming out of that Ellis race too back.
Yeah, he was in that race. He did get a little bit blocked in the stretch in that race, Dan. Then he managed to get a seam. He split. He just got nailed by All in Sync. I thought he ran fine that day. They took him to Kentucky Downs last time in the Artemis City Limits race, and he just really couldn't get involved. I didn't see his excuse in there, although it was a Kentucky Downs race, so I guess I could give him the benefit of the doubt.
The 9 Catamosto ran just fine in his North American debut at Saratoga. It's the Mahoney on August the 14th. He showed fine speed from the start, but he was outrun early by That's Right, who recently won a graded stakes at Parks. Catamosto was on a hard chase. He eventually gets by That's Right. He just can't hold off the late surge of Big Invasion, who himself is a very good 3-year-old turf sprinter. All in all, a fine start to his career here in North America, and now he steps up against older horses.
Yeah, it's not an easy spot for him to step up and face older horses. I thought he ran fine within the context of that race that we just watched there at Saratoga, Dan. No match for the closing winner, but this horse worked pretty hard early in that race. I thought he ran fine.
We'll take a look at our top selections for the Woodford Stakes. Way the horse to beat is Golden Pal in this spot. Maybe a little bit of that aura of invincibility was evaporated last time out at Saratoga when he had to just get up in the shadow of the wire. I'm curious to see what Bad Beat Brian does at a price, but Golden Pal's way the horse to beat.
Yeah, it was too tough for me to go against him, Dan. I couldn't find the alternative that I liked. It's going to be much tougher for this horse come Breeders' Cup Day, but I think this is the right spot for him on Saturday.
4-5-1-9. If Golden Pal wins, he'll be defending his title at Keeneland in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. We'll see if Bad Beat Brian, who's shown some ability in the past, can step up in class. I'll go 2-4-7-6. It's the Woodford first leg of an all-stakes pick 5 on a Super Saturday at Keeneland. Good luck.